So what you see is taken some 40 years to develop. The whole of people around the Keshe Foundation and around the world are all waiting for this box. This box has become the holy grail of science. All it is a replication of sun. All it does, it releases plasma that then the man decides what this plasma is going to be. So if you ask around the world, this has never been possible. Creating energy from free plasma has been a dream. The ones who've been around the Keshe Foundation can tell you it's very easy. What we've done, we have taken normal materials, copper, zinc, and what we've done for the first time has released a molecular structure to atomic structure, which is a single atom. This is what you call nanomaterials. We have made it so much easy to make nanomaterials that in one of the videos on the internet, a Chinese 5-year-old girl makes it in the house. This material has been tested by numerous organizations and has been confirmed to be what we say. But what we've done, we've gone a step further. We have allowed the matter in an atomic nano layer to be separated into single plasmas. And all the supporters of Keshe Foundation around the world, they do it in everywhere you can imagine. What we've done is that now each plasma is like a sun. It's an individual entity. So, in fact, if you look into the structure of the plasma, the sun is a plasma. And these are the papers and documents. So, what it is, we have brought the sun in a cup. So, what we have done is, now that we have these little suns, we do with it what we like. In a simple way, if you understand, is that when the sun releases its energy, as it slows down in different planets, on the Earth's atmosphere creates nitrogen, and an other planet produces what that might be, as it changes, reduces its energy. So what we do now is we decide what that energy is going to be. And what you see, which this system is the beginning of a cycle. This is not the end. This system is literally like a sun. It releases energy, plasma, in enormous amounts. It's you now that decides what it needs to be. You decide what would like the energy to end up as. If you like, in a simple way, you can make it into light. If you like, you can change it into food and fruit. You can change it into medicine. And if you want to use it, you can use it in a special new systems to create flight with no rocket propulsion. So the strange thing is, this is surprising to you, if you have come, for example, from the United States to here, and you brought with yourself now a 110 volt system, you cannot use it in this country. If you brought or take a system from Europe to America, you can't use it, because we share, we continuously decide what has to be done through electrons. The electron's vibration dictates our power. For the first time, if you understood that you have a freedom with the plasma, you decide what that system is going to use as you move around the world. What you're going to see today, it breaks all the rules of physics. But this is what the plasma is. You can have your European system, 220, and we have brought you a one system from the United States. You don't need any conversion, because the system converts as you need. This means the change in the whole philosophy of energy. You don't need adapters. You choose to create 210 or 110 or 240 or 12 volts, literally at your will. At the same time, from the same terminal, as you can see, we brought you system that you can see. These are the European system. From the same flock, the same system, you can see, you can run both. This is never been done, but it has a huge advantage. In third world nations like African nations,
nelle nazioni del terzo mondo,
you don't need to spend millions for power generators, for dams, for power stations. And you don't need to wait for the handouts from the West. In the places of war like Palestine, you don't need to wait if they're going to repair your power station. You can do it yourself at home. You can do it with local materials. You don't need to import anything. And if you understood the change from 220, 240 to 110 at the same point, you understand very easily you can change into the energy of the orange, a medicine, and consume it at no cost. This unit is made by Keshe Foundation China, for the doctor. This is made by Armenian American citizen, which creates lift and high power flux. So you understand one simple thing. This new unit, what we call MAGRA, which is magnetic gravitational, we can produce, create jobs and food and energy in your own nations. The only difference is, as the ambassadors, you are here, we have done all the work for you. We give you the unit, the same as what we did before in the second world peace. We give you the blueprint. You take it home, you give it to your nation, you give it to your scientists, you give it to every citizen to produce it. You walk your nation into richness of food, energy, and space, and materials. It costs you in your countries less than $10 to a household to free them from everything. Keshe Foundation person now in Ghana is teaching in Ghana to the Ghana Space Institute, Ghana Energy Center, Ghana Energy Ministry, for the Ghanese to produce this. Tomorrow, the head of Ghanaian Space Agency, Dr. Kala, is here to take a unit for back to the Energy Ministry to start reproducing the units for Ghana to become energy sufficient within the next 6 to 12 months. Today in Nigeria, Keshe Foundation member is teaching the Nigerian authorities how to produce this to walk Nigeria out of lack of electricity, food, and medicine. Behind you, there are members of Chinese Keshe Foundation, which are taking units back for the President of China within next week to be delivered to His Excellency President Xi. Behind you, there is a member who's flying tomorrow to take a unit to His Excellency the President of Armenia, and then the President of Georgia, and hopefully within next week, if he's allowed, he flies to see President Putin to hand over one to the Russian government. Amongst you, there is a man who I respect highly. He sacrificed his life. He brought the solution of the Keshe Foundation to Fukushima. He helped TEPCO to be able to reduce the nuclear radiation in the waters of Fukushima, and he's among us. He will take a unit tomorrow back to Japan, to the Imperial Family of Japan, to distribute back to Japan. That now that they're short of energy in so many ways with the nuclear problem, they can support the nation. These are all members of the Keshe Foundation around the world. We give you the unit free, but it has a condition. Use the unit, the knowledge, the energy, the food to bring peace in your nation and make peace with the rest of your neighbors. We give you access to all the teachings of the Keshe Foundation, how to make everything from the energy, the food, the medicine, free. One condition: help us to help you, that by having everything your nationals need, it brings peace amongst us on this planet. There is a very big question and a problem for you as ambassadors. Last time, we gave you 2 years to share the knowledge with your people, till we open our patents worldwide for every citizen. This time, we give you 10 days. In 10 days' time, we open our patents. Teach every citizen on this planet how to make a unit, to be independent of governments, independent of energies, independent of medicine, independent of food. You want to test it, you can do it. You want to take it, you can do it. The Keshe Foundation supporters runs into millions across the world. In every nation, there is a Keshe Foundation supporter base for existing. So this time, you have 10 days, no more. If I open this box, you'll find out when people have everything, do they need governments? Then is there a need for ambassadors? Because when we have everything, we are at peace, we become one nation. Instead of spending money on arms, when you have no enemies, the money will be spent on the citizens. This is a very powerful system for Western nations. In Africa, in a third world nation, you can make it as small as this. It gives you energy for 30, 40 years. You don't need to recharge it, you don't need to refuel it. If you use it, you can have enough to feed yourself, to heat yourself, to light yourself at no cost. So it's very simple. 10 days is long enough. It's how fast you want to translate the knowledge to your governments and tell them what is about to happen. I tell you something very simple. We are a modern technology institute. This is the USB stick with a full design, with a full specification, shows you how to make the system, how to connect it, and how to get energy from it. We will, for the countries which they need mass production, give you even the machinery to produce it. In one of the flips you saw the key, the USB stick. That's where all the patents were released. It's the same principle. Which ambassador would like to be the first to receive the free energy? Please, help yourself. Of course. Thank you. I hope you are still ambassador in 1 year time. When we make one nation out of this planet, we have no ambassadors. We're all friends and brothers. This system is literally like a sun. It releases energy, plasma, in enormous amounts. It's you now that decides what it needs to be. You decide what would like the energy to end up as. If you like, in a simple way, you can make it into light.
In modo semplice lo potete far diventare luce.
If you like, you can change it into food and fruit. You can change it into medicine.
O lo puoi far diventare medicina.
And if you want to use it, you can use it in a special new systems to create flight with no rocket propulsion. In third world nations like African nations,
nelle nazioni del terzo mondo,
you don't need to spend millions for power generators, for dams, for power stations. and you don't need to wait for the handouts from the West.
E non avete bisogno di aspettare la carità dall'Occidente.
In the places of war like Palestine, you don't need to wait if they're going to repair your power station. You can do it yourself at home. You can do it with local materials. You don't need to import anything. And if you understood the change from 220, 240 to 110 at the same point, you understand very easily you can change into the energy of the orange, a medicine, and consume it at no cost. This unit is made by Keshe Foundation China for the doctor. So you understand one simple thing. This new unit, what we call MAGRA, which is magnetic gravitational, you can produce, create jobs and food and energy in your own nations. The only difference is, as the ambassadors, you are here, we have done all the work for you. We give you the unit,
Vi regaliamo l'unit,
the same as what we did before in the Second World Peace. We give you the blueprint.
e vi regaliamo.
Knowledge is so easy. Why do we fight for knowledge to be better than each other?
Impartire la conoscenza è facile, perché lottiamo per competere l'uno con l'altro.
I have a news for you.
Io ho notizie per voi.
This thing is damage proof.
Questa cosa non può essere distrutta.
You cannot. It can melt and it still will work.
La potete sciogliere e funzionerà comunque.
It's a solid state
È solido.
and there is nothing you can do with it.
Non ci puoi fare niente,
Will
non la
still
puoi
work,
distruggere.
but still serve you.
E ti servirà comunque.
It's like a human race. It'll survive.
È come la razza umana, sopravviverà.
In so many ways, we gave you the path to the peace. It's for you to walk it.
Noi vi abbiamo dato il sentiero alla pace, adesso sta a voi camminare.
I can explain a lot. I can talk a lot. But I teach every day on the internet and in my teaching classes.
Posso spiegare e parlare tanto e infatti insegno tutti i giorni anche per internet all'università.
If you understood, or you could explain to your scientists and they tell you you're crazy, it doesn't work. The simple work of this is 220 and 110 from the same source. Change it, use the plasma to feed your nation. You can put one station very much like this in a village and people can receive the energy they need.
Potete mettere,
I explain to you what's going to happen.
vi spiegherò quello che succederà.
There is a piece of news I have not told you.
C'è una notizia che non vi ho detto.
If you connect this system in a specific way to your car,
Se voi connettete questo sistema in un modo preciso alla vostra macchina,
it can reduce your fuel consumption up to 70%. If you have LED lights, everything at home is free. If you have a fridge, it's 100% free. If you use up to 2 kilowatts heating, you pay 40% in the Western world.
per tutti,
So now you understand why Africa is going to be very rich.
perciò l'Africa comincia una rinnovazione.
In the West, people start reducing the consumption of the oil in the next 6 months. When we produce 1 million units a month in Italy, you can understand how the national income of Italy from taxation of fuel will disappear in no time, in the next 6 months.
Quando le
Have a problem. If your scientists have a problem, keshefoundation.org, send us a message. We'll respond to you very rapidly. Who's got the flipper? We tried to show you something very simple. the scientists of the Keshe Foundation supporters in Brazil, in Mexico, and in South America are running a lot of tests on agriculture.
I scienziati in Brasile stanno facendo molti test.
We show you something very interesting.
Vi mostro una cosa molto interessante.
Your agricultural harvest increases by 3, 4, or 5-fold by just using different direction of the technology.
L'agricoltura aumenterà del 5 volte.
If you put, for example, banana on top of a glass of water the way we showed, and separate the atomic structure to its plasma structure,
Se mettete la struttura atomica a sua struttura di plasma,
you transfer all the taste, all the energy of the orange into water. When you drink the water,
quando bevete l'acqua,
you've drank orange with all its benefits.
bevuto tutti i benefici di una spremuta.
And the Chinese have done that. Actually, the best specialist in this is a Nigerian, and he's teaching it in Nigeria, how people can feed themselves. Everybody have an orange with one orange. If you've been around the Keshe Foundation, the other thing we promised is this, as agriculture, usually 2 corn on a stem, they find 3 corns on each junction. And the plant grows 30–40% taller than the others. So you have a lot of foliage for the animals too. This is what has been promised a long time. You can see it yourself. Is not just a history. Everything is scientifically. Somehow this thing doesn't work. That I can show you what I want to show you.
Scientificamente provato.
You see this? This is the wire inside the house, which as you use the power, it gets nano-coated inside. Then you find out you created what the West is spending millions on, billions on, the best natural superconductor. All your stations, all your lines will go nano-coated, the same as your bone. It's the structure of nanomaterial. And what you see on the top, for the first time, we know how to produce protein from air. What you see, the fat on the top, is a protein. You can feed your nation free of charge.
Potete nutrire la vostra nazione gratis.
Most of you have never seen CO2 in the liquid state. If you understand the work of the universe on this earth, we have learned how this plant absorbs CO2. And you do it. Then you release its energy in the boxes you can. Now, we have understood how plants work and we replicated it. You don't see, as I always say in my teachings, you don't see any engines, no magnet, but this thing for billions of years have been absorbing carbon from the atmosphere. Now, this white thing is a carbon. It costs you less than 2 cents to produce. All you do, you paint what you nano-coated at no cost, so the energy goes back on the plate, and it's your free energy. That's how simple it is. I worked for a long time in Africa, and I made myself one promise. And that was years ago. No African child will sleep hungry anymore. And this is my promise complete. Now you can take these units to your nation and feed them free.
Adesso potete portare
So you've got 10 days, ambassadors. On 26th of October, we release all the units which we are selling, and we teach everybody to do what they like with it. But this is just the beginning.
Ma questo è solo l'inizio.
If you understand how you can use the power of this plasma in the right way, as I have promised to Ghanaian Space Institute, they'll be faster on the moon and the Mars than the American NASA organization.
Ho giurato agli
You need no landing strip. You don't need deep sea swimming pool to teach astronauts. The condition, because you work on the atmospheric condition, is like the way you get a jet plane, you come to Italy as ambassadors. We help you to come to space with us on a condition that you sign the World Peace Treaty. No wars, no arms. Spend the money of arms on developing the new technology.
Noi
And we support.
nessun armamento.
The only difference is, in 10 days' time, your nationals will do it, you have to follow them. Keshe Foundation is around the world as one family. We have broken all the rules of the present science. Once we learn something, we don't pattern it. We go on the next teaching and we teach everybody else what we've done.
Noi
Doctors, scientists, actually the Nigerian guy who's an expert in this technology, he's a barber in London, but he's Nigerian. He stopped his work, now he only works for Keshe Foundation developing new technologies.
il presente
As you see on the screen, is a new horizon for the man. And knows no nation, no boundary, no culture. It's equal to all of us.
che non
And it's like the Keshe Foundation, we are the same.
è come la
You want to proceed, if you want to carry on developing, we support you. You've seen it. Anything you can use has no barriers. These systems which can be done by any man around the world to save himself
abbiamo adesso
from hunger,
dalla
from pain,
fame, dal dolore
and lack of energy.
alla mancanza dell'energia.
By the end of November, there will be 1 million pieces of this around Italy, will be distributed.
Italia.
Tomorrow at 9 o'clock European time, Keshe Foundation Philippines does the same thing with the scientists and the Philippines and people to celebrate the same sharing of the knowledge with the nation. You put this material on a tissue paper. Remember one thing, you made a mistake shaking hands with me and accepting a box. This is the noose of peace.
Questo è
Now you have committed yourself to it.
e adesso voi siete dediti alla pace.
You committed your nations to one thing, for them to be prosperous, for them not to be tied up to oil, to coal, to any nuclear base.
Avete portato la
And that is, please share it. I'll give you 10 days. Because after 10 days, I teach your nations, your nationals, how to do it.
perché
not
da questo
need
popolo nazionale
Electricity to
non
go.
avranno bisogno di elettricità,
They don't need water. They do not need medicine. They do not need
né medicina,
oil to run a car.
né
In
olio per
next
la loro mano.
6 to 12 months, as we develop the technology further,
Entro 6 l'ambasciatore.
our logo is very simple. One nation, one planet,
Una
one race.
nazione, un pianeta, un